Oh, there we go. I think I might have been on mute. All right, I'm confused. Can you guys hear me or not? Because some people say yes, some people say no. So, anyway, my mic is on and it's moving, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay, we can be heard. We're good now. All right. Well, hello to everyone who's popping in or is in already. All right, today we are going to play with two different sets of Kalour pencils. This is going to be kind of fun to do because they're basically labeled the exact same thing. There are some differences, very little difference, but differences nonetheless. So we'll kind of go over those, but also we're going to do a little verses. Oops, that reminds me, I got to get my sticky note out so I can write. So kind of like I have done in the past, I split a page in half and I color like one half with one pencil, one half with the others. So this will be fun because it's the same brand against itself. So I'm going to kind of go over a few things with you guys about these, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I don't know if any of you guys own the Kalour watercolor pencils. This is not the Kalour dry pencils. We're talking about their watercolor ones. So on Amazon, you may notice it'll say professional in the listing, but then the tins themselves say premium, which doesn't help us in the slightest, right? And then you'll notice that this one here is $18.99 and this one here is $19.99. And you're probably thinking, well, what's the difference then, other than the fact that we've got a black barrel and a colored barrel? So there's a few differences, but not much. And they're literally priced $1 apart from one another. So the black barrel ones over here, like I said, on Amazon, they're labeled as professional. However, these have a 3.3 millimeter lead. They did not come with a color chart, and they don't have light fast ratings on them. That said, they're right now $18.69. Amazon lists it as a limited time deal, but I'm going to tell you right now, I bought these back in 2022 for $18.99. So that sale has been going for, you do the math, a long time. They are advertised for wet and dry, but in their description, they do mention it's more for kids, and not artists, but then they still say artist grade right here. Perfect for expert and budding artists alike. All right, way to contradict yourself. Then we have the color barrel. Both of them are hexagon, and they both have dipped ins. However, this does have a bigger lead. It's a 4.0 millimeter lead. That's a pretty big leap from 3.3. It's kind of hard to see at first, but if you look up close, you can see the difference in the lead there. I might actually need to adjust my camera. One sec. We're having some focus issues. But yeah, that's a pretty big leap in the size of the lead. So there's that difference. And then, of course, these ones are specifically advertised as for artists. And then, of course, they have light fast ratings on their pencils as well. But here you go. You can see the lead. This one's not sharpened though. Let me grab one that's sharpened. Although when they're blunt like that, you see it. But see, they're a little, these ones are thicker. And then, of course, here we go. You've got the solid color versus a black barrel with a color dipped end. And then, of course, this has a light fast rating on it, whereas these ones do not. That said, for a thicker lead and a light fast rating, you only pay $19.99. They're on sale again. I hate air quotes, but I got to throw them in there. They're on sale as well for $19.99, but they're normally $21.99. These are also normally $21.99. I bought these for $19.99 back at the end of 2023. So they've also been on sale for that same price for 2 years. So whatever. But they do come with a color chart, which is handy. You know, you don't have to make your own. So it came with like this little color chart here. So what is the difference between these two? Well, we're going to split a page in half and look at the performance rather than the presentation, other than the facts that we have. They both are supposedly wet and dry. Like I said, this just has a bigger core than this one here. And then, of course, this one has light fast testing. That said, I'm only going to take that with a grain of salt because this is a budget brand pencil. So when they claim to have highly light fast colors, I'm going to say a big fat yeah right to that. Because I'm pretty sure if I were to throw my Korilynn VanDyke Museum aquarelles right up against one of these that claim they have a high light fast, we're going to see some major differences. Also, one thing you may notice is these are very similar to the Castle art, while these are very similar to the Arteza. They, right down to the naming. So I'll be doing a separate video on that, but just a fun little fact there for you. But we are going to focus on performance today between these two. So I picked a page to split down the middle, like I did with the Albrechters versus the Supra colors. And I think I did it with Castle Art versus Arteza too. Can't remember. So these black barrel ones are not a 4.0 millimeter core, and they definitely aren't. I mean, I can tell just from looking that this is a smaller core than the other ones. That said, they both say professional and premium in their advertising, so they're rather misleading with how they word it. So that's a few things that, like, I sent them out like a huge list to Kalour, but they are not the easiest to get a hold of. That said, I did send them a huge thing with all of their contradicting information. I'm going to adjust some of my colors here because it's a little too bright in here. But I did reach out to them, so I will let you know what they say when they get back to me. But I literally sent them an email 5 days ago with a ton, I'm talking ton, like my whole list of all their contradicting info and then overlapping info. And then I said, okay, so tell me what makes these two different. So when they get back to me, we will go from there. But I am going to upgrade to the 120 set of the colored barrels because I'm doing a specific test. That said, I'll be destashing all the watercolor pencils, once I'm done with this whole little test fun thing we're doing here. So we're going to split our page down the middle, but I'm not going to actually draw a line down the middle because I want to use this page later. So just kind of like I've done in the past, I always find something that's symmetrical, like a mandala or whatever, but I was kind of leaning towards this skull. Although, now that I think of it, I might look through here for a few others because there's a lot in this Johanna Basford book. It's Enchanted Forest, but there's a lot that you can split in half. So let's see if there's anything else that I might want to just split in half. Yes, so the black barrels are a lot like Castle Art, but the colored barrels are also exactly like Arteza. So there's nothing necessarily unique. And I'm going to do a separate video on that, showing the overlap. Ooh, that one might be fun. This is my very old copy of Enchanted Forest. I've been using it for testing, so you can see some really oddball color combos. Oh, actually, I like this one. This might be more fun than the skull. I think so. Yeah, this is so old. Look, I colored this in 2016. This was back before I knew how to color. 2016, wow, almost 10 years ago. But yeah, this is my super old copy. This was the first thing I ever colored with Prismacolors. That's a really old picture too. But like I said, it has really good ones. Ooh, yeah, I think I'm going to do this one instead of the skull. Plus it gives me a little bit more moving room. And then I'll zoom you guys in as well. I just need to make sure I get these pencils out of the way-ish. And then, of course, the fun really begins when I start to try and combine them. So let me zoom in a little. Because you guys want to be able to see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. Now we've got to pick some colors. So what I'm going to do, just like I've done anytime I've split a page 50-50, is I try to pick very similar colors when I split it down the middle, because that's the best way to do our little comparison, right? Otherwise, what's the point? So let's see what we can do by splitting this one. Obviously, let's start with some greens. They also have similar names, which make it helpful, except the colors aren't always exactly the same. Let's see. Now on here, this is why I also call this set, the Black Barrel set, a Castle Art dupe. They even have right down to Castle Green Deep, Castle Green Light. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I was like, well, way to do that. But this is also going to tie into a video I do about white labeling, so keep that in mind. I do find it hilarious, though, because you can go buy the Castle Arts for $60-something right now if you want. Or you can just go buy these for $18.99. I am going to do a versus video of these ones, the Black Barreled Kalour versus Castle Art, and then I'm going to do a comparison video later of the Kalour colored barrel versus Arteza, which is their little similar buddy there, and kind of see what differences we can find, if any. All right, so let's grab some greens that are similar. Does this one have a dark green in here? It doesn't, but I want something close. I will say this 72 count set has a much nicer set of greens than the Black Barrel set. So it's not like they have the exact same color palette, but they do have a few overlapping colors. But I think their sap greens are pretty similar, so I'm going to grab both of those. Oh, of course it's on the... Man, I really hate these like cheap, flimsy plastic trays, but I don't want to move any of these watercolor pencil sets to cases, because once I'm done with all these watercolor battles, I'm actually going to destash all of these pencils, because there's only certain ones I'm going to keep, and these are not one of them. Okay, so we got this one's sap green. It'll be, at least it's easy to tell these ones apart. I gotta find the sap green that's over here. Nope, that's olive yellow. I didn't get a chance to pick out greens ahead of time, so I do apologize, but I had a lot going on this morning. This one, oh, if I remember right, this was like way out of order too. Yeah. They do have a bunch of Kalour greens. So they're Prussian green. I want dark cadmium, which will be close to, actually that one's not gonna work. So I'm gonna do their sap green. Something else, we'll go from there. Probably their sap green and maybe this yellow green, because then that'll match up. I think that yellow green will match up with their leaf green. Well, as close as we can get it, at least. Where is their yellow green? It's leaf green light. Goodness gracious. Okay, got their yellow green, but I can't find my sap green to save my life. Got my olive. Maybe I accidentally shoved it on my other one here. Oh, I think it's right here. Yep. Okay, got my sap green. My yellow green. Now I've got my sap green for this one. And now I need my leaf green. Not my leaf green light, but my leaf green. At least these ones are in order. My colored barrel ones are out of order. All right, and then let's add a yellow at the end of it just to kind of give it something. So I'm going to do the lemon yellow light, which I think will work with both brands. Or not brands. They are the same brand. Both varieties. Okay, there we go. Gotta have a starting point. Lemon yellow light. Is that you? That's you. Okay. Look at that. We have colors. I do have the Arctic's watercolor pencils. I'll be doing another video on those. I just haven't gotten around to it. But it is on my to-do list. I am going to mute real fast, though, to save your ears, because I need to sharpen these. Okay, so you're probably wondering, why am I even bothering to compare two of the same brands, right? Well, their pricing is so close to one another. And like I said, the differences are pretty minimal, other than these now have a light fast rating. But again, I don't believe light fast ratings on budget pencils. So doesn't matter to me on that part. And then, of course, this has the bigger lead. But is that worth the extra $1? I mean, it's not a big leap. So that's nice, right? You get a bigger lead. Probably, I would say a nicer built pencil too. Naturally, the barrel is going to be thicker by a little bit just to accommodate that thicker lead. But it's just fun to kind of see the differences, especially because they're labeled exactly the same. So we'll see if there's really anything notable. I'm going to sharpen these two because I don't think they've ever been sharpened. That was probably loud, but if I mute every time I sharpen, we'll be here all day. All right. Good thing is with watercolor pencils, you don't have to sharpen a lot. So we'll start. All right, black barrel is on this side. You can't see my note that way, huh? I'm going to put it like right here at the top. There. And then just split it down the middle. So like I'm even going to just do these leaves right here, right down the middle too. So like both of them say wet dry applications, which is always nice because it's nice if you can have a watercolor pencil that still is nice to use just dry. It's like a 2-for-1 deal in a way. right, and then I'll get my sap green. But I am kind of curious if the formula is any different. Like, so far, just from using that one sap green, the black barrel sap green, it is a little scratchier than this one. But that's not conclusive. All right, and let's add a little bit of this lighter green on some of these leaves. On like teeny tiny details like this, I tend to just drag my colors out. I don't want to do a lot of blending in such a teeny tiny area, but when we get into the larger areas, we will. I mean, I prefer a chunkier pencil. Let me know if the screen's too dark, by the way, and I'll increase the brightness. I had turned it down a bit, but now I'm like, oh, that might be too dark. I love like Derwent style chunky pencils. That's my ideal chunky pencil. All right. As for water brushes, today I am using a Tombow. I love my Tombow water brushes. And then I'm also using one of my Kuretake Zigs. I love both. Then we'll just activate them. I am wiping off my brush just because it's a small area and I don't want to leave pigment on my brush and then it just drag all the way across, because then I won't have any white space left to create like a natural highlight. If you had like a bigger space, you wouldn't have to wipe your brush as frequently. Oh, hi, Kenny. I don't use anything on my finger for the pencils. I don't grip my pencils very hard though. I use hard pressure, but I don't grip the pencil very hard. Honestly, you could use those, those little like foamy, squishy thingamajigs that you use on pencils and pens. You can put that on your colored pencils, or you can they have those actual like things you can put on your hands to kind of prevent you from getting like little blisters and stuff. All right, I'll turn up the brightness after I activate these little itty bitty leaves. Are your markers like pretty fat markers? Because sometimes it's natural to just want to grip them harder, especially when they're bigger like that. Like I noticed that I will grip my Ohuhus more than I would my Copics. Caliarts, yeah, they're about as thick as the Ohuhus. All right. Now let's do some bigger leaves. So I'm going to I just have to always remember, like when I pick up a pencil, what side of the page am I on? So I think we'll do this one. It'll be interesting because it'll go right down the middle. What I'm going to do on these is I'm going to ignore these little outlines. Just do my own thing. This is like, old school Johanna Basford, where she used to do like the outline and then the flower in there. I don't get time for that. I ignored them back in the day too, because I was like, ugh, too much. It's kind of cool to see how her style like evolved, especially like with things like leaves. Her leaves were a little bit busier back in the day. All right. Ooh, we have like little bundles of raspberries or blackberries. They could be whatever, I guess. to color. I'm going to leave the thorns untouched. The only thing is when you're like swapping off pencils, you don't color as much in a single coloring session, but oh well. Especially when I'm like sitting there switching off, because I'll have to be like, okay, what color was that? Or what did I do there? This one's a little scratchy on some sides. I just have to turn it though. I did sharpen it though. But like with watercolor pencils, you should never press hard when you're putting down the color, because you can always go back and add a second layer. Well, I should rephrase that. Depending on the paper, you can go back and add a second layer. But if you put down too much at once, you can't take it away. And if you press too hard, you'll leave lines etched into the paper, so that when you go to dissolve the pigment, it'll actually leave the lines behind. So you want to use light pressure with any brand, not just these, any brand. All right, I think that goes like that. Oh, and then it goes down here. Well, this is a busy little page, isn't it? No way will I finish this whole page today. All right, I'll brighten it up just a wee bit more too. Like I said earlier, it was really bright, but now I'm like, oh, now it's dark. All right. Hi, Shannon. Okay, and then I think we'll go this way on this one. And then the trick is, when I'm doing these like pages in half, I have to try and mirror exactly what I did with the other brand on the other side. So that's always makes it fun. So let's see, I want to do this one like this. Yeah, this green is really scratchy on the black barrel one. Ah! I'm like roughing it up on a piece of scratch paper, but nope, still scratchy. Oh, I can feel that in my bones. I hate scratchy pencils. Okay, and then we're gonna do, you might even be able to hear it if my mic picks it up. Ugh. Come on now. I'm gonna sharpen it again. All right. Sometimes sharpening gets rid of the scratchy, sometimes it doesn't. Like even Prismas I'll have that are scratchy sometimes, and I have to sit there and see. So on this side, I'll have to like sit and twist until I find like a not scratchy side, but no, this one's still scratchy. Okay, and then I've got, obviously I'm not gonna like stress and make it exact, but I try to get the colors as closely laid down as I did on the other side, just so when we're doing a comparison, we can like look at it the same. So let's see, I got that one. That goes up and that one goes up. Yeah, it was crazy when I went to go look and see how long ago I bought these, because I was like, I've had these for a while, because I had started this project a while ago and then things got really hectic around here and I had to kind of put the project on hold. But so I was like, okay, well, I got to look up when I bought these last. And I was like, I bought these in 2023. It's like, holy crap, where does time go? And again, 2025 is going by really fast. Wow, this one is like epic scratchy. Okay, so I need to be on this side. I'm like hurrying to get done with this color. And pick up a different green soon because this one's just driving me nuts. All right, so we've got green here. Around the outer leaves. You haven't caught one of my videos or my live streams in a while because I haven't been streaming as much. Let's see. Last week I streamed on my diamond painting channel because I had a diamond painting thing already planned. And then the week before that, I think it was Mother's Day. And I think the week before that, I don't think I streamed because I wasn't feeling well. I've been kind of back and forth, not feeling good these days. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, heck, I didn't even feel good for Mother's Day. Oh my gosh, the scratchiness. Okay. Now I'm going to grab some slightly lighter green. Just put it in a few places. I also want to use the yellow. And also put it in the vines a little here and there. I think I'll turn these into like blackberries so I can play with some of the purples because it's always nice to see how purples look when dissolved. Oh, that one's got a scratchy spot. But yeah, I'm not pressing hard at all. Like, that's the nice thing though about watercolor pencils. Then you don't have to really sharpen them much. I am not ready for Christmas to come anytime soon. It was crazy enough that the school year was just like here in a blip and then gone. Oops, wrong pencil. Was here in a blip and then gone. Like, and my kids are like, home on summer break now. And we're still like trying to just like adjust to being in like summer mode. I don't know. It's warm outside, so it's not like it's not summer, but every day I wake up and it doesn't feel like summer break. I don't know. Even though I don't have to wake the kids up. It's not like they got anywhere to go. Okay. But we're trying to, it always like happens that way with summer, so where we take like a few weeks to like get into a new routine. And then of course it's like by the time you finally get it down and everything's running smoothly, school starts right back up and then you gotta go right back to a different routine. Oh, I didn't color this one over here. I was like, why am I missing? Yeah, I need to color this one. Ugh, man, that scratchiness. I can't handle the scratchy sounds just because it like reminds me of like scratchiness on a chalkboard type scratchiness. Ugh. Literally makes my skin crawl. Oh my gosh, this pencil. I'm gonna throw it. Whoa. I need to put on earplugs. Oh, I can't handle it. Whew. It's the last time we're using that color. That was painful. Okay, let's see. Did I get all my little mixtures? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, depending on where you are in the country, not everyone's even out of school yet. So this looks like olivey on my screen, and it's a bright green. What is up with my camera settings? Because I'm like looking over at it, I was like, wow, that looks kind of yellow. But it's not a yellow color. So we're going to fix that. Otherwise, it's going to bug me. Just got to be careful because sometimes... No, we're not green yet. Just want to make sure I don't turn myself into an Oompa Loompa. gotta love when you have to sit there and screw with your camera settings. I don't know what is up with my camera today. It is not picking up the green at all. This does not look... As much as I would love to sit here and like play with the filters all day, I don't want to be at it. So I guess we're gonna just enjoy this yellowish undertone we got going on, which kind of sucks for comparison, but whatever. Deal with that later. This is like, wow, that is like yellowy. Yeah. Adjust that one a little, maybe if it'll fix it. No. And my auto filters are useless on this camera, I swear. All right. Let's see. Oh, Nightbot is spamming us. All right, now I'm going to use yellow, which is actual yellow, but these greens are a lot brighter. All right, I'm going to just put little pops of yellow here and there. I'm going to put some on this side of the leaf. Some on the big leaves. So I would say so far these colored barrels, just with these three colors though, so keep that in mind, are definitely more like soft to use while dry. Because the black barrel ones are definitely scratchy. Especially that one green. I hear that scratchiness in my sleep tonight. All right. Let's try activating some of these and see. See how they activate on this paper. Now it is Johanna Basford, so it's a very smooth cardstock, which isn't necessarily the best place to activate watercolor pencils. But still, it's one of my favorite ways to test. But they're not doing too bad. Yeah, you only want to type it once. If you misspell it, then you can retype it, of course. But just make sure you only type it once, because it does have like the spam thing turned on, so it will like disqualify you if you put it in there more than once. Caps don't necessarily matter. I just have it in caps on Nightbot so you guys can like, see the full phrase. But if you type it in lowercase, that's okay. But yeah, if it's misspelled, you can retype it. And because this isn't like watercolor paper, I use a pretty damp brush while activating. That's what I would do with like ink tints and stuff too. Just because the paper, while it's a really good cardstock and it does well with water, still if I want to go in and like shade with the pencil dry, or add a second layer because I just don't feel like it's pigmented enough, I don't want to add too much water because it will start to pill on me. How much water does it take? I don't know. I've never tested it on this paper, but still. But the colors match up nice, even though they have slightly different names, except my sap greens, those are the same, and my yellow light. But I mean, any set of pencils pretty much has that in there. Okay. I kind of just want to scumble that one over a little. Drag that one over. No, the caps don't matter. Like I said, I put it in all caps in the Nightbot message just so you guys can see it. You know, because there's so many messages going through and stuff. So I just put it in caps so you can see the phrase. But if you type it in caps, that doesn't matter. Or if you type it in lowercase or caps, that doesn't matter. The spelling does, though, and spacing. So don't put a space in between the words. But it's not case sensitive. All right. I think I'm going to upgrade my camera. This camera has been giving me so many issues. It's just not worth it. In fact, I have a camera on my desktop downstairs that I don't use anymore since I'm not working and doing webcam meetings all the time. Really should use that one. Okay. Hi to everyone coming in. Sorry, when I'm in activating a pencil mode, I almost zone out. You're just like so focused. At least it's not like with ink tints, though. You have a little bit more forgiveness with watercolor pencils. Whereas with ink tints, you can totally get water lines and it just sucks. But with watercolor pencils, you can get ink lines if your water brush is really, it doesn't have enough water on it and it's pretty damp. And since I like to use mine damp, I have to find that like fine line there. All right. So those are those greens, even though they look yellow on my screen, and it's annoying the crapola out of me because they are not yellow. All right, now we need some purples because we're going to make some blackberries, I think. The only thing is I have to like make sure that I've got the same in both sets. It's interesting as the green shows up on my swatch chart just fine here. It still looks kind of yellowy on there. All right, pink. Yep, we've got like a mulberry color. So I think that one might work. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think we'll do those ones. All right, let me see if I got the same on this set though. Okay. And this one, it's hard to tell because of the swatch charts, but because these are smaller boxes, so the colors look more concentrated. This one, whereas like they don't look as concentrated here, but this is a bigger box, so keep that in mind. But I really want to use like this aubergine color. I'm just trying to see. I think their mulberry is pretty close. So I'm going to grab that out of the way, out of the way. They have a dark purple. It's funny, their purple Lake Deep actually might be the same as this one. Let's try both of those. Let's see, purple Lake Deep on this one is right before. Yeah, nails and plastic trays go along. Nope, that's purple. It's indigo. Where's my purple Lake Deep? At least I thought I had them in order, but I guess I was wrong. Purple Lake Deep. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Purple Lake Deep on that side. I need the Purple Lake Deep on this side. It's so exciting watching me find these. Okay. Wow, that was aubergine. Hopefully this one's somewhere easy to find. I'm kind of like pulling them by the barrel color at first, just to see if I luck out and grab the right color. But it doesn't seem to work that way. I'm wondering whether aubergine would be interesting. Oh, that's Violet Deep. Oh, I think I found it. Yep, weird color barrel. Okay, so we got the aubergine. And then I'm going to want their mulberry color. Which is basically close to the aubergine. Yep, all right. And I just need something light as our highlight because it's a small space, so I'm not going to do more than 3 colors. Probably going to throw in, which is grenadine, would work really well. Do I have something close on this side? Actually, they're grenadine light, and this one's they're grenadine and grenadine light would work. Okay, so it's grenadine light on this side. And just grenadine for the other. If I can find it. Oh, yep, grenadine light. Okay. We can figure this out. And then it's just grenadine on this set. Woo. Okay. I will definitely have to mute to sharpen these, though, real fast. Wait, sorry, I saw this question and I can't. Let's see. You bought Albrecht Dürer and returned them because it took 3 times as long to do the layer activate, do another layer if I wanted it darker, and then shade with a pencil. So watercolor pencils, I mean, they're only going to be as, you shouldn't expect your watercolor pencil activated to be as bright as a normal pencil dry. They're supposed to be washed out like watercolors. But Albrecht Dürers are still pretty vibrant when activated. So that's kind of interesting that you would need 3 layers unless you were doing a really, really, really light layer, activating it with too much water and watering it down. That could be part of the problem, but yeah, because you can't expect them to be as bright as, like, say, if I were to put Prismacolor straight down. This is a watercolor pencil. That's the effect you're going for, is the look of watercolor, so it's going to be washed out. All right, I'm going to mute real fast while I sharpen these. So Albrechters are pretty vibrant pencils, wet or dry. I don't know if you got a defective batch. I have a lot of videos on them, so I would go take a look at my videos because they are literally the top watercolor pencil I would ever recommend. But yeah, so it could have been you were just putting way too light of a layer down or watering it down too much. But they're pretty vibrant. In fact, I don't think I have my swatch chart in my book right now because I just did a video with them. But I have a few videos with my Albrechters, so go take a look at those. But there is a learning curve to watercolor pencils as well. But if you want like super vibrant, water activated, then do Inktense and not a watercolor pencil. Because no matter what, a watercolor pencil is still going to look a little washed for that watercolor effect. So if you want something really opaque and vibrant, then Inktense would be better, but they're not watercolor pencils, which is why they are not in the watercolor pencil battle. All right. I would not spend my money for coloring on the museum aquarelles, but those are very vibrant when you activate them. They're also rather opaque. So just something to keep in mind if you ever buy those. Oh, this one's scratchy too. No. It's like they just want to torture me. Can't handle it. And it's been so long since I swatched these, I can't remember. I need to find my old notes. Like, did I write down that these were horribly scratchy when I swatched them? Because they sure are scratchy now. Especially on this paper. This paper's a very smooth cardstock, so even like my Prismas, I'll notice are scratchy on some papers, but not scratchy like this. This is a whole different level. Inktense are really good, but again, Inktense are not watercolor pencils, and there is a learning curve to Inktense. So a lot of people will get really frustrated with the Inktense, especially because they are so vibrant and they have a little bit more opacity. So like if you don't activate them properly, you'll get a lot of water lines. But I mean, if you're wanting something super vibrant, but yeah, kind of, and then the museum aquarelles are ridiculously expensive. So keep that in mind. Yeah, like Kenny said, they melt. You could just say the word water and they melt. They dissolve really quickly, and they're very vibrant. They are more opaque than transparent, like the Albrechters. But that said, the museum aquarels are very expensive because you're paying for a highly light fast watercolor pencil, and they're designed for artwork. Commission pieces that are going to sit in a gallery and be exposed to gallery lighting conditions. So you're spending a lot of money on a watercolor pencil for an adult coloring book. Now, if you're going to like hang up your colorings or give them away, I could justify the Korilynn VanDyke aquarels, but if you're not, then no. It would be cheaper to just go buy some ink tints, and ink tints are pretty fun. So, but I mean, you got to keep up the price, consider the prices and stuff. But I just did that top 3 artist grade watercolor pencil recommendations for adult coloring, not for art, just for adult coloring. And I even mentioned in that why the museum aquarels are not in my top 3. And especially with prices now. Hello. Talk about expensive. I saw the price of Holbeins the other day. I was like, wow, that went up. They were expensive back before, but now I'm like, what the heck? I can't believe that's how much they cost right now. I almost fainted. Of course, now I'm wishing I would have saved my Holbeins for this huge price hike so I could sell them on eBay used for that price. Whew, and I made them killing. Man, I cannot believe how much those things are. Okay, so like I have a dark purple as my base, and then I've got like a mulberry color and then a light pink. But I'm only putting like the mulberry color on certain berries, and then the pink will go on other berries. So I'm not putting all 3 colors on every little berry. And the reason for that is this is a very teeny tiny space. But I want to kind of create like just the different colors you would see, if you were just sitting there looking at a blackberry. It has like those little specks of different color. You get those deep indigos, but then you also have some like ruby red sometimes popping up in there. Now I kind of want to eat some blackberries. Actually, I want to eat anything because I don't eat breakfast. So every time I go to stream, by the time my stream's over, I'm like starving. I usually, nowadays, because of my insomnia has been so bad, I'm usually up like 4:30-ish, 4:30, or heck, the last few days I've been up at like 3 something in the morning. So yeah, by noon I am like super hungry. Yeah, like so the one and only pencil I have ever said from Holbein is worthy of purchase is that soft white, but not at the price right now. No, girl, just go buy a freaking Prismacolor and call it a day. Because every time you sharpen that thing, you're going to cry. So already laying these down dry, this side over here, the color is more vibrant when you lay them down dry. That said, when I've activated them both, they're pretty much the same activated. But just letting you know, if you were looking for a pencil that you can also use dry, because like I said, it's nice when you can get like a 2-for-1, right? The colors are more vibrant on the colored barrel side while dry. Also, they are smoother. I have like a few scratchies here and there, but nothing like the black barrel. But yeah, these are definitely more vibrant on the dry when they're used dry. And both are advertised to be used wet or dry. I could probably zoom you guys in a teensy bit more too, so you can see the color. I just don't want to go too far in because I have limited desk real estate with 2 sets of pencils completely open and a laptop. So I'm like, I don't want to go off screen, but let me scooch that over. we go. Okay, now we're going to add the pink on this side. But yeah, I definitely noticed that. Um, 540 is pretty high. They had gone down to the 300s for that full set. So the fact that they're at 540, that is a lot. I mean, I paid 300 something for my full set. It'll be interesting to see how close these colors are when I activate them. I mean, they looked the same on the swatch chart, but you know, you can only tell so much from a swatch chart. Okay. Let's see. The classic Kalours, I do have those. I've done some reviews. I need to do some more. There's actually a third set of Kalour watercolor pencils. They basically have a barrel similar to Prismacolor, so no color dipped ends. But you know, here's the thing with Kalour. So we've got the black barrel set, and I'm talking not watercolor now. They've got that black barrel set. They've got the color barreled set, but also, wait for it. We got these stupid things now. So I am going to do a video on these because now we're doing, they like to really play with the professional, premium, but now we got the top grade. So I'll be doing a video on these soon. I just haven't gotten to it, but now there's 3 different kinds. For Pete's sake. So yeah, I'll let you know what I think of the top. What is it called? Top grade? What? I don't know. It's something ridiculous. I read that and I was like, oh, for Pete's sake, we're going to add top to it and hike up the price. I am going to say this now, but I think a year from now, we are all going to see the price of Kalours go up like Arteza and Castle Art. I'm saying it now. They are tossing out a ton of pencils and toying with names and formulas. And I think they're going to become one of the bougie budget sets. I really do. I think they're going to do that, especially when they came out with this top expert whatever BS crap that I just showed you. I do see them hiking their price like Castle Arts and Arteza did a year from now. Now, hey, I could be wrong. I mean, I've only been reviewing colored pencils for, you know, a few years and watched these lovely things, but I am going to just say that now. So let's see if I'm right a year from now. Which brand do I think won't go crazy and increase? I honestly think Arctics is going to keep themselves where they're at. Are they like super cheap? No. But I don't see them going like Castle Art and going, you know, it would be fun. We're going to charge $60 for our pencils. So, and I'm not even a fan of Arctics. I'm not like really a big fan of Kalour either, but at least they're affordable to buy for, you know, reviews and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just see Kalour because they're using a lot of the same naming, styles, formulas, and whatnot of Arteza and Castle Art. And they're coming out with all these ridiculous things. I do see them hiking their prices soon. They're just, right now, they're reeling everyone in, kind of like Arteza and Castle Art did. And then kaboom. But they really need to work on their customer service, that's for darn sure. So these aren't the charcoal pencils. They do have charcoal pencils on Amazon now, yes, but these ones aren't. These are their blendable, oil-based, smooth core, whatever, top grade pencils. I don't know. Top grade. So we have professional, premium, and top grade. Oh, for the love of God. Just pick a lane and stay in it, people. That's always like my biggest pet peeve is when brands are like, it'd be fun. We're just going to like confuse the crap out of you guys. But that's why I'm going to create a nice little chart so you guys know the difference between all of these cute little ones they're throwing out for you. But it is interesting. Now, like I said, there's only $1 difference between these two sets. So I'll do this isn't going to be the official review. We're just coloring the page for the review, but I'll do an official review. And then also, if I hear back from Kalour, and they can tell me why they bothered to do this at all. Honestly, if really the only difference is a bigger lead and they added light fast to it, they definitely have a different formula to these two pencils too, though. I can feel it just in the performance. But they should have just discontinued the black barrel set because there's only $1 difference between the two sets. Like, it just doesn't make much sense to me. It would be different if they had like a huge price difference between these solid colors and the black barrels, but it's literally their base price is literally the same. Their sale price is $1 difference because their sale price has been the same price it's been for years. This is just Johanna's Enchanted Forest. I like to use this and Magical Jungle for testing the watercolor pencils in these little verses, because she has a lot of these pages where it's not necessarily a mandala, but it's a symmetrical drawing so that I can split them in half and do one brand on one side, one brand on the other. So, yeah, Magical Jungle, Enchanted Forest, they're my favorite for doing the split page tests. And this is one of my super old Enchanted Forest copies, because like I said, I found that picture from 2016. And I remember coloring that one. Actually, I was pregnant with my daughter, who is now 9. And I was using Marco Raffines to color that page. I think I have a copy with that page not colored. I'm going to recolor that page now and do a side-by-side, because that's when I started adult coloring, was when I was pregnant with my daughter, because I was looking for something to do, because I was getting a C-section. So I was like, I need something to do while I'm in the hospital. So I think I will recolor that page. Yes, everyone wants to be Prisma. Derwent Chromaflow wants to be Prisma, though they were kind enough to not copy every single name. Artix was not so kind and went all sorts of name copying, but Prismacolor does not own the rights to color names because, in fact, most color names come from the pigment used to create that color. Now, does that mean that that actual manufacturer is using that pigment? Probably not if you're talking like a budget brand. But like with artist grade pencils, when they say cadmium yellow, that's the actual pigment, just like it would be with if you're buying paints. So no one technically owns that name. However, there are like those specialty names certain brands will have, like Deco Yellow, Deco Pink, Deco Peach, from Prisma. Copying that would be a little bit of an overkill. All right, so I know you probably can't see it on your side because it's a very, very slight difference. So when I put these down dry, these ones were definitely much more vibrant, and it almost looked like different colors. But once I activated them, they look the same now, right? These ones are just a teensy, and I'm talking like teensy, bit more vibrant than these ones. So it's kind of interesting because on the dry application, these are definitely more vibrant. But once you activate them, they're, well, the same. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Just thought I'd throw that out there. All right. Yeah, they have the names. Where was it? So the difference, however, though, is these are going to be oil-based. But before anyone runs to the comments in the replay, I am more than aware that oil-based means they're both still. It's just oil leaning. I hate that I have to throw out that disclaimer. I just want to say that on the record. It drives me nuts. Anytime I do a review, I have to throw out that disclaimer because if you don't, the one time you don't, someone will run to the comments and correct you. And they sure do run to it real fast. It's impressive. All right. What color do I want? I mean, I want to compare some blues because, you know, blues. I got to keep the color palette somewhat reasonable, so let's try some of their blues. All right, because I could do these birds here, make them blue. Yeah, we could do that. All right. Let's do that. Hey, you know what? We could take bets and see if my kids are awake by the time I'm done streaming today, because those lazy punks weren't even awake when I started streaming. Must be nice. I personally cannot sleep that late in the day. It just makes my skin itch. But I know when I was a teenager, I used to do that, or so my mother claims. I don't remember, so as far as I know, it didn't happen. I don't believe it, especially with how early I get up now. All right, we're going to try this indigo, which I'm totally going to regret combining, but I just wanted to. And then their primary blue. But yeah, I can't believe how late my kids sleep. I'm like, are you my children? You sure? As I'm over there, up at 4 a.m. Where is it? Okay, so we got indigo, primary. Ooh, let's throw in this turquoisey color. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, that one. And then I'm going to toss in a flesh type color at the end of my turquoise. Probably, do I have one close to this? Yeah, so flesh light. Let me put these in order, but like I said, I'm probably going to destash a lot of these when I'm done. Okay, so now I got to find them over here. So we've got indigo, and their indigo is really close. And so is their primary blue, so those will match up. So primary blue. Okay, primary blue, their indigo. Is it indigo light? Oh, they call theirs indigo light. Okay. So indigo light, primary blue. And then their turquoise matches up. Close to their teal green, I guess. This one might be slightly off with the turquoises. We'll see. Okay, and then the flesh light matches actually really well with their flesh light too. Okay, we'll see how that does. I am a morning person, but it's because I really like the peace of just peace and quiet, having the house to myself for a few hours. No one needs me. No one's bothering me. I don't know. That's why I've always really been a morning person. I do not go to sleep at night going, you know, it'd be cool waking up at 3, but my brain lately is on that train. All right, I'm going to mute while I sharpen these. All right. It will be interesting to see how the blues look when put on dry. Because like I said, with the berries, like these ones were more vibrant while dry. But then once you activated them, they're pretty close. It's just these ones are just a teensy more vibrant. Like barely noticeable. But yeah, definitely more vibrant while dry on the colored barrel side. All right, how do I want to do this? No idea. Might do this bird in stages. Yeah, I probably will. Oh wait, gotta keep the right colors together. Like I said, I will be doing like a destash of all the watercolor pencils later because obviously I do not need like 40 something pairs of watercolor pencils. It's just a little overkill. They're all just in a pile in my art studio, so there will be a destash once I finish all these. See, so because I get up so early, I'm actually like in bed, like usually listening to an audiobook, but about 7 o'clock, and I hate it in the summer because the sun is up. So you're like, wow, that's real good for my circadian rhythms. But especially now because I've been getting up with my insomnia, it's like literally roulette, right? I have no idea what time I'm gonna get up. Because there's days I'll go to bed and I'll end up, getting up at my usual 4:35. There's other days where I'm up and like wide awake by 2:30. Gosh, that was just the other day. I got up at 2:30. It was the weirdest day ever because I was sitting there like working on some social media and then I was doing some writing on my book and then I'd be like, gosh, I've accomplished so much. And I would look at the clock and it was only like 6 a.m. It's like, oh, this isn't good. But yeah, so now I like tend to go to bed like around 7 and I listen to an audiobook to unwind. But it's because I don't know if I'm going to like end up sleeping all night or not. So that's a big part of it. Like I never know. And it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. So now I just like permanently decided, well, 7's when I call it quits. And I usually listen to my audiobook for about an hour to 2 hours. So I'm usually asleep by like, oops, I gotta switch to the other pencil. Usually asleep anywhere between 8 and 9:30, but that's pretty much the extent of how late I stay up. Such a party animal, I know. All right, trying to make sure I mirror these colors. All right. I mean, granted, it won't be exact, but I try to get it as close as I can. This time, while dry, they're actually pretty close. In fact, the indigo is more vibrant on the black barrel side while dry. All right. And I'm going to put that there. There's a little pink in there. I'm going to add pink to this one. And maybe this one. So the hardest part is I should have set up my desk so I kept each set of pencils on the other side so I don't accidentally grab the wrong ones. Okay. All right, let me activate these and see where we're at with that. Yeah, the problem for me though is if I wake up at 2:30, basically if I wake up anytime after 2, I can't fall back asleep. My brain just starts going, and I try, but it just does not turn off. So I give in. I mean, I usually will sit there and try though, because I'm like, I don't want to be up this early. But yep, I'm usually just sitting there and then I'll get up because I'm like, well, I'm not just gonna sit here and waste time. I might as well get going. It just really sucks because then by noon you're like, oh my gosh, I've been up for like forever. If you get up at 2, you're like, okay, well, I've been up for 10 hours and it's only noon. I'm dragging some of the turquoise, but I'm also leaving some white space on purpose. Oh, thanks for joining for members. Is there something wrong with the sound? Did I miss something wrong with the sound? I mean, I mute when I sharpen, but... And yes, insomnia is the worst. I don't wish it on anybody. Because it's completely out of your control. Like I said, you'll go to bed almost stressed, like, am I going to sleep all night tonight? Am I going to wake up in the middle of the night? Is my day going to start at 2? So you have to go to bed early because you're like, I don't know what time I'm going to wake up. Because my problem is, most people would go, well, I'll just stay up later. If I stay up later, no matter what, even if I wasn't having insomnia that night, if I stay up till midnight, my body will get up before 5, no matter what. It don't care. It was activated pretty well. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing with me, because that's my husband's solution. He's like, well, then just go to bed later. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Because I came home from my daughter's college graduation, and by the time we got the kids to bed, it was probably just after midnight, and I was still up. It doesn't matter. My body will make sure it's up before 5. So it's yeah, it doesn't work that way for me. Okay. Yep, these ones are still softer for sure. I'm going to do this part of the bird. Just the teal and pink. All right. Then, like I said, I want to test as many colors as I can, but I still want it to look like a completed page as well. I've never done one of those challenges where you use all the pencils, you know, and just go for it. I really should do that sometime. I mean, you can make it work. It's just about where you place the colors and what you mix together, but it's interesting. So the blues, like with this one, when I put the blues down dry, they're almost more vibrant dry on the black barrel side for the blues, but on the purples, definitely not. But they are freaking scratchy. That part I don't like. Okay. I think, no, I'm going to do the primary blue. Except this one. This one's not scratchy. Never mind. I spoke too early. I went around this bend here and then I hit like this spot and it was like, and scratchy. Spoke too soon. Okay. Trying to keep my hands out of the way at the same time. I'm not the best angle today. She majored in biology. It was kind of a running joke because I went from psychology, that's what she started as, to nursing, to something with health. And then it was going to be pre-med, and then it was marine biology. It just became a joke because we were like, every other quarter, we're like, so what's your major this time? But she ended up graduating with her degree in biology. And now she is taking a gap year because she's not quite sure what she wants to do. So we'll see. I'm going to make these. What I'm going to do is actually I'll go back and shade them. Yeah, so I'm going to color or fill these in with the turquoise, but then I'm going to go in and shade them when they're dry. Because that's something I always like to test because that's what I do with my watercolor pencils a lot, is I'll put down a base color and go back and shade with something else. Sometimes just the same color depending on what I'm trying to achieve. So we'll do that as a starting point for those ones. Need a little more water on my brush though. Alright. Yeah, graduation now is crazy. So they have like AI reading the names off. So the students have like this app on their phone. And so then when they walk up, like their row walks up to get their, or to walk up on the stage, like it gets scanned and then like an AI voice thing like says their name. So it doesn't matter what row they sit in or anything like that because it just, the app gets scanned and then it reads it off out loud. It's kind of crazy. And man, there were some people with very long names. I was sitting there like, whoa. because it'd pop up on the huge like screen that was over. I was like, whoa. So like there'd be this screen and then the name would like go off the screen. So they didn't plan very well on that part. Luckily my daughter does not have a long name. Hers fit just fine. And she was like one of the very few who didn't have her last name. A lot of the students had their last names, or sorry, not last names, middle names. And she was like one of the handful that didn't. So it was just her first and last name. But everyone else had like their middle names, and then a lot of them, because this is Utah, a lot of them were married too, so they had like their maiden name and their new married name in there. Oh, this needs to be activated. Yeah, it's kind of depends on the school. Some schools are banning AI, other schools are using it. The high school across the street is using AI a lot for productivity, and like the kids are allowed to spitball ideas with ChatGPT. Just basically when it comes down to like, writing out your assignment, you need to write it yourself, but like you can use it for research, idea spitballing, and stuff like that. Like heck, I use it for creating some of my social media posts and my social media calendar for my books, because I don't know if you guys know how much social media is required for authors, but it's a lot, and I don't have the time to sit there and write it by hand myself. Like if I did, my creativity would be sucked dry just doing social media. I wouldn't write a book. I'd be, well, heck, that's why I'm behind on my current book, because I've been writing my own social posts. But last week I was like, I'm going to have ChatGPT create up my social media calendar, and we're going to see how it goes. Yes, so the 120 set is the same as these ones here that I have in the 72 count set, these colored barrel ones. It's the same thing, it's just the bigger set. But it's the same formula. It is not the same as the black barrel. I can tell you from just coloring what I've colored here. One, I know the lead sizes are different. Two, the formula is definitely different just from the way they lay down on the page. So the black barrel is definitely a cheaper formula. I'm getting a lot more scratchiness already. I can notice that. The vibrancy isn't there when it's dry, but when they're wet or activated, they're both the same. These are a lot more pleasant to use, the full color barrel. Pleasant to use dry, and they're more vibrant, and they're smoother lay down, but activating wise they're the same result. So it makes it kind of interesting, right? Because there's really only $1 difference between the two sets. So right now I would say don't bother and waste your money on the black barrel, just go get the color barreled one. But I haven't done my official review. I'm just saying, if you asked me right now, that is what I would say. All right, we need to work on this little one that we're going to split in half here. Oh, with a scratchy pencil again. But it has to be done. We're going to literally go right down the middle. Actually, this might be a good way to show that, because I'm going to put two sap greens side by side. But they don't have the 120 of the black barrel watercolor that I could see when I looked, because I double checked this morning. But they do have the 120 of the colored barrel. All right, where's that sap green for this one? Yeah, these do lay down smoother. And of course, I always appreciate if the lead is thicker. A thicker lead is just, well, more bang for your buck. Also less breakage naturally. If you like to sharpen to a really sharp point and you're a hard presser, you're not going to get as much breakage if you have a thicker core. They do have a few similar color names that are actually the same colors too. Like my two primary blues are exactly the same color. But then like my turquoise on this set is actually teal green. So the color names do vary, but a few are the same. I'm just saying right now, considering there's only $1 difference between the two sets, with their sale that's not really a sale because it's been the same price for several years, the colored barrel, yes, would be better because they lay down smoother while dry. They're more vibrant dry. That way, if you wanted to use them dry and or wet, you had that option. And it's a bigger lead, because we're talking, it's a 4 millimeter versus a 3.3 millimeter. That's actually a pretty big difference. And then with it only being $1, there you go. Now, if it were a bigger price difference, then I would sit and think a little more on it. But again, I'm not giving them any credit for the fact that they added light fast to it. Because I don't bother with the light fast ratings of pencil brands like this. No offense to Kalour or any of those, but if I want a light fast pencil, I will go pick up my Albrecht Dürer or something like that, because these are budget pencils. I'm not going to have any sort of light fast rivalry compared to an actual artist grade pencil. All right, let's try making this indigo. So indigo and indigo. Just gotta remember, because I'm trying to keep my color palette. All right, and then what was that color that I had? Indigo, not the sap green, but the middle green. So this one here, leaf green. And then, yeah, we'll try that on some of the leaves. Maybe these ones here. That would be kind of good. Yeah, no space in between on those. Little Nightbot doesn't like that. I'm trying to debate which one I want to color. Yeah, I'll put it up here because I need some indigo up here anyway. And in fact, make sure you've entered into the giveaway so that I can draw a winner, because we are getting close to the end of the stream. So I guess I'll give my usual spiel about giveaways. So if you're watching this on replay, there is no entering because the giveaway is in stream only. So that said, you must be in the stream at the time your name is pulled. Oh my God, this pencil is so scratchy. Sorry. Sidetrack. But yeah, you must be in stream when your name is pulled. So I'll give you a few minutes to reply. But if you don't respond, then I do have to move on and pull someone else. So just keep that in mind. And then, of course, you need to be able to receive from Amazon US. I am sorry, but I can't afford to do like other countries right now. As I'm sure you all know, prices are not really budget friendly for any of us these days. So you do need to be able to accept from Amazon US only. And then, of course, the usual spiel. This is not sponsored or endorsed by Kalour or YouTube or Amazon. I am the one fulfilling it. You will need to email me ASAP, letting me know that you are the winner with all your info just so I have it. And I need you to email me today. Don't wait a few days, because I do get people that impersonate you literally that like later that day. So if you want me to send it to you and not your impersonator, email me ASAP. Even if you've won before, email me, because I actually don't always save people's email addresses. So you'll still want to email me no matter what, even if you've done a past giveaway. But yeah, you must be in the stream at the time your name is called. So I'll give it like, we're going to put 2 minutes on it. So I'll give you 2 minutes to respond. And if you don't respond in 2 minutes, I'm going to have Nightbot pull another person. So if you do pop back in and you're like, no, I'm here and I've already pulled another person, sorry. But it gets it moving, because sometimes people will enter and then they leave the stream. So we don't want to sit around just waiting. But make sure you enter. It's Gimme, like Gimme. Wow, this one's scratchy though. What's going on with this one? Hang on, I'm gonna sharpen that out. Yeah, I'm taking one for the team with a scratchy pencil thing here. Ugh. Like, it physically makes me nauseous, so I'm literally taking one because I can't handle scratchy sounds. Seriously, like if someone does fingernails, or even the sound of chalk, or oh my gosh, just even the eraser on a chalkboard. I struggled as a kid in school because the sounds just made me, I don't know what it is. I have a physical, violent reaction to it. Scratchy sounds. I just don't like them. What can I say? We've all got our quirks, though. I'm just trying to make sure we match over here as much as possible. Maybe. The outer edge. It's so weird when you're trying to like mirror yourself. In theory, it should be easy, right? But in practice, you actually have to like stop and go, oh wait, did I do that way or this way? Okay. And let's just hope when we do pull winners, Nightbot, it didn't do it last time, but there was a few weeks ago where it kept pulling people who didn't even enter. So I don't know what was up with that. In fact, let me pull it up right now and see if it's been tracking. No, it's been tracking. So I think we might be safe. Yeah, scratchy sounds just like I can literally feel it just like creep up my spine. The EBGBs. But yeah, anytime I get scratchy pencils, that's probably why I really, really love Prisma. Because sure, you get a scratchy one every now and then, like ultramarine violet colors tend to be scratchier, like they're violet and dioxazine hue colors. Those all tend to be a little scratchier, but they aren't as scratchy as anything like I'm experiencing right now, that's for sure. All right. I'm going to put these ones on here. I want to mix these and see how they look. Now, these colors are not very close to one another at all, but that's kind of the fun of watercolor pencils. You can skip a few colors in the row. You know, like when you're looking at blending groups, sometimes you tend to stick to something like really close to one another, but when you go like with watercolor pencils, you can skip a little bit. So it's kind of nice. Yes, I do have a diamond painting channel. That's actually where I was streaming last weekend because I had to finish up my mermaid painting. And I was also, it happened to fall on the day my limited edition box released from my store, so I was doing a giveaway for that. It just doesn't make sense to do a giveaway for that on this channel. Not everyone here diamond paints. But all of my channels, if you just go to like the homepage of my YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, and scroll down, you'll see all my other YouTube channels that I have. The fastest way to find them, unless Shannon feels generous and wants to link them. Greens here. I'm putting this green down pretty lightly because this blue is going to meld right in there. Yes, I'm comparing both water because they have the black barrel, the colored barrel. So I'm comparing them to see what makes them different from one another other than like what we have listed in their listing. You know, they have a different core size, obviously different designs with the barrels. They are indeed a different formula from one another, but kind of just seeing how they compare. Why? Because, well, I was curious. But truly, after just using these so far, I don't know why they didn't just discontinue the black ones and then release these colored barrel ones. It would have saved a lot of confusion. But maybe they have a reason for it. I don't know. I'm sure people have bought the black barreled ones because they've been around a long time. So maybe they left them there in case people want to buy like replacement pencils, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird that they left them, especially if they have a different formula on the other ones. And there's like a whopping $1 difference in price. They blend nicely with that big color leap. Get this one going. So I'm going to pull that up into the white space a little because I left a lot of white space on purpose. And then we're going to blend it into this blue down here and see how that does. Now this blue was scratchy. So I'm going to see if it scratched my paper, because that, when it scratches your paper, it doesn't always dissolve as good. So that's kind of what I'm curious about now. There's a few spots where it didn't want to dissolve, and that one was getting really scratchy. Well, when you get into the budget realm of pencils, there's going to be a ton of different formulas. But also, despite what they say, they don't have to fall under the same regulations as a true artist grade pencil, right? They can sit there and say that they've done the ASTM, standards for their testing and yada yada, blah blah. But they're still not going to be in the same category as, like, okay, these right here are not going to be in the same category as even the Derwent watercolor pencils or Albrecht Dürers from Faber-Castell, or even the absolute crap Prismacolor watercolor pencils, the one and only Prismacolor product that disappointed me to no end. But yeah, they're just not held to the same standard. So they're going to sit there and toy with their formulas until they get something that sticks. But also they can throw out 2 of the exact same pencil, especially when they're doing white labeling, because it's just, at the end of the day, it's just income. Like if Faber-Castell were to release another set of watercolor pencils, well, what would happen? We would all freak out and be like, "Oh, wait, what's going on with Albrecht Dürer? Are these improved? What's the formula?" Like, people would actually care. and question it and then review the crap out of it and scrutinize it. But when it's a budget brand like Kalour, they can just go recreate a pencil, toss it up there, add the word pro instead of premium, and then change it up. So it's just something you got to keep in mind, which is why I'm really not a big fan of, I totally went out of the lines there. I'm not a big fan of budget brands for that reason alone. There's no regulation, no consistency. They don't have to be consistent. Whereas with actual artist grade stuff and not just these brands that claim to be artist grade, there's regulations, like they're held accountable, and there's consistency. Because with these budget brands, I could like the set I have right now, but I could go buy another set of that same pencil and it might be crap depending on where they manufactured it that time. So that's a thing to keep in mind. I've always said this on my channel. With any product, there's a caveat to the budget. Yes, you save a lot of money, but honestly, in the long run, you don't, because when you buy an actual artist grade pencil, you can get it open stock. It has consistent testing. It's regulated. You spend less. Like, I might go through a ton of Prismacolors, but I spend less on those Prismacolor restocks than any of these budget pencils I've ever bought, because there's some budget pencils I love, but I have to buy a whole set to replace one pencil that I just went through. Whereas with my Prisma, I just go to Blick Arts and pick up my one pencil. Like, granted, I don't go to Blick Arts and grab one pencil, but you know what I mean. All right, let's pick a giveaway. Yep, open stock. If it's open stock, I know it's a scary price when you buy any sort of actual artist grade pencil up front, but when you think about the savings of the open stock, it's just so much better. Whether it be Prismacolor or Polychromos, anything like that. So people always, or brands always get an up for having open stock. It's the same thing with markers. Copics are still my go-to marker, and to this day, I still say Copic beats out Ohuhu. And yes, I know Ohuhu has refills now, but the nibs and the color variety and the fact that they have not bothered to screw with their naming convention to screw us all up in the head is also a bonus. But I look at my Copics as an investment. If I buy a set of Prismacolors, I look at it as an investment because I can buy an open stock to keep that set going. If I were to go buy these Kalours, it's not an investment. I just tossed my money in there because once I run out of yellow-green, which is W062, I have to go purchase, because this is the 72 count set. I have to go buy a 72 count set. Granted, it's $18 or whatever, but still, I could go buy my Prismacolor pencil for $1.20, but I got to go spend $18 to replace this one little guy. And I don't get any of the perks. So that's just one girl's rant. Okay, winner. Let's go. And the winner is Shelly. Well, I picked a winner, so Shelly just has to respond. And I need to type in my email. Oh, never mind. Love you, Shannon. That is the email. You must email me. I swear I just saw Shelly type something. Yep, you. Yes, you. So email me. Shoot me an email, and you get to pick. You can either pick the black barrel or the colored barrel. And that is what I will send to you via Amazon. But yeah, I'll take a picture too and put it in the community tab and on my stories on Instagram so you guys can see the colors. Because like I said, these greens aren't really showing up on camera, but they're more yellowish, at least on my screen. It could be my screen. They're a lot prettier in person. But yeah, interesting so far to compare these two. I really Don't know why they bothered to keep the other ones around, because this does have a thicker core. You can even feel it while holding it, like just noticing the difference. This is thinner and lighter than this one here, but also just the lay down between the two. This one lays down nicer. It's more vibrant. Definitely, you can tell the difference on the formula, at least on the dry side. But what's funny is when you activate them wet, they're about the same. I mean, they are the same. Like, so it's kind of odd. But I still have to do my official review. I'm still waiting for Kalour to get back to me. I will, because I got a few messages. I will be doing the review on these ones soon. But first, I need to review the Arctic color pencils, because I have a lot of people asking me on those. They're literally sitting over there on my table, next up in line. So I'll be doing a video on those ones soon. And I did reach out to my contact at Arctics to ask if they were going to expand it, because they have a 72 count set. So I'm pretty sure they'll end up expanding that one soon, but I don't know when. But yeah, when I'm activating, you mean how much pressure with a water brush? I use very little pressure. You shouldn't have any pressure. You just let the bristles kind of just glide right on top of the pigment you put down. So there's no pressure whatsoever. If you're using pressure with your water brush, you're actually going to really damage the paper. You won't be able to go over it, especially if you have cheap paper like Teresa Goodridge books. When I use watercolor pencils in those, and I do, that would actually pill that paper. This paper has a little bit more, but still, you definitely don't want to use any pressure. Just let it glide. The bristles glide right over. But more importantly than that is when I use my brush and I get it wet, I want it to the point where I can just barely see a streak of water on my hand. That's the wetness I use to activate in a coloring book. Because this paper is not meant, it can take water, but it's not meant to take a ton of water. So keep that in mind. But I only recommend water brushes for activating pencils or watercolor pencils. You can activate them with a Tombow or something similar that's a water-based colorless blender. I do not like activating watercolor pencils with the colorless alcohol marker blender. I will activate Inktense, but again, Inktense, we're going to say this all the time, Inktense are not watercolor pencils. So they're a different story. But when it comes to watercolor pencils, I usually stick to these for adult coloring. I don't even use paintbrushes. I stick to these because the nylon bristles here like really help pick up the pigment off your coloring page. Now, if I was working on watercolor paper, I would actually use a watercolor brush, but we're talking adult coloring, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it is time for me to go eat my lunch / early dinner because I've been up so long. Oh my gosh, it's noon. That's pathetic. But on the East Coast, it's like 2, right? So maybe I'm living on like East Coast time. Yeah, you don't want to scrub. It should just move it around. But I mean, you'll know you've done too much if you have, like, say, look at mine here. My page is not all wrinkly. I don't have it all wrinkly. If it's wrinkled, then you use too much water in an adult coloring book. I keep them damp. There is no reason to have your water brush super wet. Plus, it's just a pain in the butt to have a crinkly page. But yeah, I am going to go now. If you have any other questions about activating or whatnot, leave them in the comments below. If you guys leave enough questions, I will actually make a tutorial for it. I just don't always make tutorials because sometimes you never know what people actually want. So always leave your questions in the comments below of a stream, and that way I can know, like, hey, I've had 5 people ask this. I'm going to make a video. All right? So until next time, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll snap a picture. Shoot me that email, Shelly, for your pencils, and I will catch you guys later in the week. I have some videos coming out, including the Rita Berman books, which are not new, but they are now in English. So I have a video. She sent me some. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Bye now.